Hey guys, let's get more news about Dallas, but before that, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Cowboys free agency, Odighizuwa projected to earn over $21 million per year. Time will tell whether or not the Dallas Cowboys are more active than usual in free agency. In case you haven't been paying attention and still believe them to be aggressive in this area of roster construction, that has not been the case for a very long time. It does seem that more people are catching on to the Cowboys' MO in this area, although one of their own and Micah Parsons recently challenged them to act differently. Parsons called for the front office to be more aggressive this offseason, and part of the reason he did is likely because he doesn't want to see one particular teammate leave. In addition to needing some outside help, the Cowboys have a very talented player set to the open market in defensive tackle Odighizuwa. Odighizuwa may have garnered more national attention over the last 4 years if not for sharing a draft class with Parsons, but people have really picked up on how good he is as of late. Those people also believe that he is in line for a big payday. We still have a few weeks to go until free agency fully begins in the NFL, but between now and then the idle hands across the league will do everything they can to anticipate it. Lately there has been talk about Odighizuwa and the projected deal he will get in free agency, something we added to our news roundup last week, but talks are getting a bit louder. The great Bob Sturm shared PFF's projection for Odighizuwa on Sunday, and it is seismic. PFF believes Odighizuwa will hit $21 million per year when it is all said and done. To be fair, PFF actually believes Odighizuwa will eclipse $21 million per year, which is really saying something. The state of the defensive tackle position in the NFL lends itself to his advantage, and being on the open market in a world of free enterprise suggests that he will be very happy soon enough. We can all have, and do obviously, thoughts on how the Cowboys should be more aggressive in free agency, but this might be a bit rich if we are being honest. Odighizuwa has, as noted, been a great player for the team, but this is a lot of money to consider handing out, especially with the Parsons extension looming and hope for aggression elsewhere. For what it's worth, things can always be done and figured out, but it seems like Odighizuwa has played his last game for the Cowboys if we are being honest with ourselves. Add in the fact that Dallas' first thought about this deal is how incredible of a compensatory pick they may get as a result of it, the math is all pointing in one particular direction. Cowboys WR target gets major contract update from Bengals. The Cincinnati Bengals have reportedly reached a decision on potentially using the NFL franchise tag on T. Higgins. On Tuesday, the franchise tag window will officially open, and it seems the plan is for the Bengals to use the tag at the very least as a placeholder as they attempt to come to a long-term contract agreement with the star receiver. The tag is set to be worth about $26 million, so even if no deal is struck, Higgins will get that amount, fully guaranteed, for the 2025 season. Or, even as both sides continue to work on getting a long-term extension completed, with the deadline for that on July 15, other bidders can swoop in with offers to pry Higgins loose from a Bengals franchise that is notoriously frugal in these matters. Are the Dallas Cowboys, who are, also notoriously frugal in these matters, when it comes to outside free agents, prepared to swoop? If the Cowboys are going to compete for a championship with an offense centered around Dak Prescott as a franchise quarterback, they need offensive weaponry. Not coincidentally, the beauty of Prescott's contract, massive as it is that its structure does allow Dallas to chase those expensive weapons. Until you see it in black and white, there is no counting on a promise here, even as Jerry and Stephen Jones have suggested a willingness to change their approach to free agency. But there is potential, in the form of a possible $100 million in cap room for 2025. Chief among the key positions of his receiver, where Dallas relied heavily on CeeDee Lamb but struggled with poor depth and consistency for much of the season. Want a quick fix? Signing the biggest contract in free agency might do the trick. Yes, that is probably what it will take to steal Higgins from the Bengals, and with the tag, it'll mean a trade might be needed to pull it off. Speaking to the Cincinnati Enquirer recently, Bengals Director of Player Personnel Duke Tobin expressed that a reunion is possible but not imminent. "We feel like we have the resources to do it," Tobin said, "but it all depends on how the negotiation goes and whether they're willing to accept wanting to come back at a number that makes sense for everybody. And you know what we do with T going forward. I've always been very upfront in my desire to have T. Higgins on our team. I've never not been upfront about that, and that desire continues, but we have to be able to come together with his representation on what that means and what the right number is for his experience, for his play time, for his production." Tobin's conservative language surely sounds familiar to Dallas fans as it echoes what COO Stephen often says about not wanting to pay great money to good players. The Bengals, assuming they want to truly contend, have little reason to let Higgins walk, outside of the same cap constraints that Dallas always complains about. It remains possible that Higgins surpasses that $30 million mark, as the top receivers, including Lamb at $34 million APY, already do. Giants named as projected suitor for Cowboys' potential $63 million free agent. It's not uncommon for division rivals to target one another's free agents in March, and the New York Giants would be a great fit. Dallas Cowboys UFA defensive lineman Odighizuwa in 2025, according to the 33rd team's Marcus Mosher. After first estimating that Odighizuwa would earn a 3-year, $63 million contract, $21 million per year, in NFL free agency, Mosher linked the Giants, Cincinnati Bengals, and Washington Commanders as projected suitors. "This is not a particularly deep class when it comes to interior defensive linemen, but there are two top-end talents who will get massive deals," Mosher wrote. The first is Odighizuwa, a 4-year starter for the Dallas Cowboys after being selected in the 3rd round of the 2021 NFL Draft. Odighizuwa led all interior defenders in quarterback hits this season and is a force as a pass rusher despite less than stellar sack totals, the NFL analyst went on. "He is on the smaller side for a defensive tackle, but teams prioritizing pass rush ability and durability will fall in love with Odighizuwa this offseason." Finally, Mosher added that you can expect Odighizuwa to make at least $20 million per season. Reasoning: given the lack of depth at defensive tackle in free agency, it wouldn't be a surprise if he earned significantly more. "We saw Christian Wilkins sign a deal worth upwards of $27 million last year, and Odighizuwa is younger and far more durable. One of the Giants' strengths is their defensive front, but there was one weak spot that limited this unit's impact in 2024, and that was the interior defensive line role next to Dexter Lawrence. Odighizuwa would take over for veteran Rakeem Nunez-Roches, among others, in filling this position, which would then set up Big Blue with one of the most ferocious defensive lines in football. On most passing downs, when the Giants operate out of a 2-4-5 formation, they'd flaunt OLB Brian Burns, Lawrence, Odighizuwa, and OLB Kayvon Thibodeau with inside linebackers Bobby Okereke and Micah McFadden just behind the front four. At that point, the starting defense would just need another cornerback and another safety. Assuming Jason Pinnock doesn't re-sign in free agency. It would all start up front for the Giants though. According to Pro Football Focus, Odighizuwa recorded the 4th best pass rush win rate, 15.1%, in football last season among interior defensive linemen playing a minimum 50% of snaps. For reference, Lawrence finished at a 12.5% pass rush win rate before his injury. Needless to say, opposing offensive lines would have to seriously think twice about doubling up Lawrence and Burns with Odighizuwa on the field, and if they do, the Cowboys' free agent would get plenty of one-on-one matchups himself, as would Thibodeau. While expensive, an acquisition like this might just be the missing piece that this NYG defense has been looking for. And you fan? What do you think of Odighizuwa's situation? Leave your opinion in the comments.